So I kind of call myself an introvert, but I never really talk about it. And I never really talk about how that affected me as a mother, because being an introvert and the mother don't really go together. And I also have a little bit of a neurodivergent spice going on with me. So it's not just being an introvert and then having kids, is also having a lot of sensory sort of issues that motherhood doesn't really understand. It's not for the kind-hearted. Yes, Flynn. Very cool. I did a bit of a soul searching in motherhood to get to adapt, I guess, to my introvert self. And these neurodivergent quirks of mine, I don't like to call them issues, but they do annoy me, and make me snap and make me a bit more snappy on the snaps, which it's something I wasn't used to or didn't expect, actually. I didn't really expect that to happen as much as it does, me snapping at stupid shit. So I thought today I would share the top 5 of things that make me lose my marbles at my husband and my son. So both of them, pobrecitos, have to suffer with these snappadoodles. All right, the first one is sound. Sound is wow. I underestimated how much sound annoyed me until I became a mother, and we started receiving those very noisy toys that they play on repeat constantly. And wow. Or just trying to have a conversation. You try to have a conversation with your husband, and your toddler child just keeps interrupting. And or if you don't listen to him, then he starts singing and yelling because he just wants to be in that part of the conversation, but he doesn't really understand what's going on. So you're just having a conversation with an adult. And obviously then that makes me snap because he's just nagging at me. So I didn't really expect to be so overstimulated by sound as I currently am. So right now I know a little bit more how to keep it in check and to not snap, because when I feel like I'm about to snap because of sound, deep breath, and then remind myself that he's a child. And making noise, it's fine, it's okay. He's in a safe space, so he's just expressing himself. And when things then start to become too overwhelming, I kind of ask him to go and do it in a different room. So he has still very noisy things that he plays with, so we just move him from a different room type thing. But don't get me wrong, because this happens like once or twice a month when I remember. It depends. It has to catch me on a good day, because if it's not on a good day, I will be snapping. I'll be snapping. Anyway, for number 2 is detach out. That is the main one. Ooh, I knew I wasn't a touchy person. I don't like touching and hugging and things like I do. Some people, it's very few people that I feel comfortable touching or hugging and things. Yes, my husband is the main person I probably feel the most comfortable, or felt the most comfortable touching and hugging and being in touching with constantly. But then you have a child, and that child actually wants to touch you constantly, and you're just not used to that. And my husband's and my relationship suffered for the first few years, because I was like touched out for years. I'm still touched out. He's 5. He is not as attached to the hip, and I'm still touched out. It's getting better, but wow, I had to swallow a lot of that. And I had to learn how to express that too, because it almost makes your skin crawl to be touched. But you don't it's almost like you don't even understand where it's coming from at first, because it's like your child touches you and you're fine, but then your husband comes and touches you, you feel touched out, right? And then even when your kid comes and you're just like, okay, enough type thing, yeah? But you don't connect the dots. It took me a while to connect the dots, and now once you understand it, it's a bit better, and you can articulate and be like, oh, I am touched out. Please do not touch me before I punch you. And with my child as well, I still don't know how to express that, because pobrecito, he just wants to cuddle. He's not doing anything bad, but obviously boundaries and stuff. So we are on the verge of we're learning those right now. So it's a fun time. All right, number 3 is probably like the panic I feel when people ring the doorbell or call me. I always felt that like I've never really been the kind of person that gets excited because someone's at my door, or I'm like, oh, who is this? No, I'm kind of like the person who hides until they leave, type thing, right? Pretend nobody's home. I haven't done that to anybody, by the way, but I have tried. Just didn't work. But now it's even worse than it was before. Before I would make exceptions and stuff, but now is a no. You come unannounced, I'm not home. And you call me and it's an unknown number, oh, I'm for sure not answering that, okay? That is just not happening. Like currently my phone, if you call me and I can't recognize the number, is straight to voicemail. So just FYI, if you ever try to call me, please don't message. Yeah, but yes, that escalated after motherhood, and I haven't done anything to fix it, to be honest. I just accepted that one because I don't really mind it. I also do this in seeing people in public. I avoid people in public that I know because I don't like, unless you're one of my closest friends, I'm not going to come and talk to you. Sorry. Like, it's just my social anxiety that at that point that I have no control over it. It's the panic that I feel in these situations. Wow. A full-blown panic attack for like 2-3 seconds while I'm trying to decide what is the best move to avoid any of this. So, you know, like, it's impractical, I have to say. Some days it's alright, some days it's just, I will just move away. Anyway, so that's one. Carrying on. So number 4 is, I don't know if this is like an introvert thing, but I think it's like an introvert and then a social anxiety bit, that I have the same conversations in my head as in like the things I have to say. So if I'm going to buy bread, or if I'm going to the pharmacy, if I'm going to the doctor, I have the conversations rehearsed in my head. And then the time it comes for me to actually say it, and I panic and say nothing. So that happens a lot, actually. It happens a lot of times where I've practiced so much that in my head I have fluent conversations. Then I open this camera and it all goes to shit too. But like, for instance, I can't record this while there's people watching, because like even my son, like, I cannot do it with him watching. It just doesn't work for my brain. And the same goes to having these conversations with I can't go to an unknown place with not knowing what I'm going to do. If I'm going to the pharmacy, I need to know exactly what I'm going to say. Or if I'm going to the shop, I need to know what I'm going to say. But yeah, it's a lot to live in my brain. And now it's just become even worse because we moved to France when I had my child. So this one just affected me even more. My husband just does it for me. He comes to the doctor. So this is interesting, but I don't know if this is interesting. I don't know if anyone is like this, but me, I do not like going to the doctor, dentist, any of that shit. So to go to do appointments, if he was not going with me, I probably wouldn't go, to be honest. So yes, I'm not the best at this, so I just found one hair on my chin. So yeah, so that is another struggle I have, because it's exhausting. It's just exhausting because I'm constantly on it, right? I'm on it. And not to mention afterwards, the things that I say that are wrong or that could have been said better, and that I overthink on this constantly, until I forget. Anyway. And number 5, which is the last, but by no means the least, it's the guilt that comes with needing to be alone, the wanting to be not talked to, not touched, not anything, just be a vegetable. Because then I start thinking about, like, my husband's been working all day, my son, he just wants his mother because he loves me. And here I am being a total bitch, I guess, because I just want to be alone. And that's what my brain takes me. But it's not true, firstly, before I go any further. So the guilt of wanting to be alone wasn't something I had before motherhood, because I was alone, like my husband. Me and my husband were both introverts, and we both like silence and quiet and our own thing at the end of the day. Even if we're doing it together, it's just so quiet. Obviously with a child is a bit different because he's moving and touching and talking and doing other things. So we don't get that end of the day, only when after he goes to sleep, of course. But it was hard at first because I had to manage that. Because, as soon as your child goes to sleep, you just feel guilty because it's like you wanted them to go to sleep because it's like, oh yeah, finally a break. But then as soon as you get that break, you feel guilty because it's like, oh, you think about all of, basically you start thinking about all the shit that you've done that day and then things that could have gone better. And then you feel bad because it feels like your child is the one who suffered. So that's basically sort of the gist of the guilt. And I still, I've just learned to accept that this is my version of motherhood. That's the main problem was because I was comparing myself to other people online, which they were only sharing their 15 minutes of high joy of the day, even though they had the worst day ever. They shared the 15 minutes that it was great, which is totally fine. Do not get me wrong. I love that. That's the point of social media, is to share your highlights of the day, and you should. But obviously when you're a mum in the trenches of it and with nobody that can relate to you, it just feels rough. And to me, it was rough for the first few years. But then I finally found the people tribe, my people that normalized this and made me realize that, it's just how you are wired, and it's fine to feel this way. Like, you need a break too. Everybody needs a break. Even the non-introverts of life, they also need a break, okay? So it's not just that because you're like this that you need a break and you are the worst mom in the world. No, it's fine. It's fine to need a break. It makes you better. It turns you into a better mom. And that's what we underestimate a lot, because the break, the pause, the moment of rest only ultimately makes us better, makes us stronger. It just helps us in the whole and all. But we forget that because for some reason resting is not productive. This is a very vulnerable topic for me because I'm sharing a lot of vulnerable stuff that you don't hear people share about much, and I'm going to start sharing more because this is my version of motherhood, and maybe it will help someone feel less alone like I did back then. And hopefully you don't, and hopefully you find some value in this. And I would love to hear from you in the comments if you are an introvert or if you have any neurodivergent sort of issues. Even if you don't, I would love to chat with you because we're all in this shit together, even if it looks different. And being a mother, it does not invalidate your feelings or your actual sensory overload, all right? Just because you're a mom doesn't mean that you don't get tired, or it doesn't mean that you don't get overwhelmed. You will. And it will suck because you'll feel guilty about it. The best advice I'll ever tell you is just, you'll have to learn how to deal with this with your family, like how it works for your family. Don't go from, you can hear how I deal with it, maybe it works for you, maybe you could try or not, but don't think it's a definite plan. This is just what works for our family. And you just kind of have to find what works for yours. And a reminder, you're not broken, you're not wrong, you're not damaged just because you're different or because things don't work the same as you see it online. Okay, your life isn't broken. You've probably just been scrolling for too long, all right? Don't compare apples and oranges. We are all different and we all have our own struggles as well, even if other people don't talk about it, okay? Plus, what it really means is just your brain is working harder than it should be. And now I need to go because my son is he's had enough of waiting for me. So thanks so much for listening.